Welcome back to London, everybody. The stress levels are high in this studio because there is an absolutely insane game being played right now in Copenhagen between Manchester United and Copenhagen. How do I tell you what happened? Manchester United went 2-0 up. They went down a man. They gave away a goal. They gave away a second goal on a penalty, so then it was 2-2. They won a penalty, went 3-2 up. They let in another goal, 3-3. It is now 4-3 to Copenhagen to the away side.
Wow. Is that man Ronnie, is it?
Margie.
Is that your man, Ronnie?
My man Ronnie! It's not that Ronnie. It's the other one. Oh my, what a game we've seen today. Bad decisions. 2 goals from Højlund. 2-0 down, 2-2, 3-2. 3-0 and now 4-3. We've had absolutely everything, Jamie.
Well, it mustn't be your man, Ronnie, because this fella's called Rooney. But it's a fantastic finish. And listen, there'll be a lot of debate about this game. Decisions for and against both teams that I don't agree with. But I know Manchester United are down to 10 men. But you still shouldn't be conceding 4 goals. Certainly against opposition like Copenhagen. But there's still time left for them, Thierry. Can you see them getting back into it?
This game is crazy. Anything can happen. A penalty that might not be a penalty. Who knows with the referee and VAR in this game? But I agree with you, Jamie. They were 2-0 up. That doesn't mean you have to concede 2 goals the way they did before the end of the first half. I think you can still be in control. You can play two lines of 4 and have one striker. See it out before the end of the first half and regroup. But they didn't do that. It was 2-2. And I thought that after the goal of obviously Fernandes on for me, what was not a penalty, maybe they would have walked away with it, but no.
I mean, obviously everyone in this group still has almost like an outside chance for that second position behind Bayern Munich, but you look at the group now, Bayern Munich have already qualified, but
Man United
could be going out of Europe completely. They've still got 2 really tough games.
You enjoyed saying that, didn't you, James?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, we don't show no bias in this studio. I mean, you've come in all red tonight.
Mm-hmm. A coincidence.
Yeah. But I'm with Thierry. I think when you go down to 10 men, we've played the game, that can happen. And the biggest thing I think it stops you doing is normally scoring. Now, Manchester United's goal, for me, shouldn't stand. The goal that put them 3-2 up. But what you shouldn't really affect you is too much... Is that handball? You wouldn't know tonight, but it shouldn't affect you too much defensively. Really? You've still got 10 players on... Look at Harry Maguire. This is the problem right now. Every time a ball hits anybody's hand, players know the rules in this competition now.
They're always going to
argue for it. Of course they will do. Because they know the handball rule now, certainly in Europe, is absolutely ridiculous.
No.
They're not checking.
I mean, to be fair, Fernandes complains for everything.
No bias in this studio.
Højlund did well tonight, though, Jamie. Got his 2 goals and.
To his confidence, the way they're good. I mean, they were tap-ins, weren't they? But you've got to be in the right, position to score them. But I mean, they've got 5 minutes left here. I mean, you were really disappointed with Copenhagen, weren't you, Thierry, at the start of the second half?
Because I thought that when they had a goal and they had to score, Man United were struggling. And then they started the second half like, okay, we're going to give the ball back to United and wait, which I thought was a mistake. And then again, when they were in the need of scoring a goal, and Man United couldn't exist and play.
I think it was a strange substitution bringing Højlund off just because he was holding the ball up, give him an out ball, they brought on Mount. It's not really stuck up there, and now they're just trying to play on the counter-attack, but it looks bleak for Man United at this moment in time.
Yeah.
We talked ahead of the game, you did some analysis, Thierry, on how United have struggled in attack. Has it been more of the same in this game, do you think?
Well, as Jamie said, when you play with 10 men, that's where the problem can happen.
Oh! Big H!
Foul anyway. Foul anyway.
Oh my God.
But what I was trying to say is that when you're in this type of situation, playing with 10 men, the struggle is going to happen when you're going to have to attack. When you defend, you still can be solid. I thought they did that at will at the very beginning of the game, and then they found, obviously, Orleans on the first one and on the counter from a ball, I think that Bruno Fernandes got back. Then obviously played Garnacho, and then there was a tap-in again for Orleans. Then after, it was very difficult for them offensively. But I go back again, it's not because you play with 10 men that you have to concede the goal they did concede. It's too easy.
Thierry, coming into this game, obviously it was a huge game. Looks like they're going to be on the wrong end of the result. I mean, the fact that there's so much gone on in this game in terms of red card, VAR decisions, do you think that'll overshadow the performance, and should it?
The thing is, look, I'm going to repeat exactly what I said. Your team, your Liverpool, would have seen that out. Regardless of the referee, not the referee, or you would have made it at least 2-0 half time.
It's still a really poor performance when you consider the position they found themselves in when it went down to 10 men, the 2-0 up.
Regardless of when we're going to talk about the decision of VAR and whatnot, which helped them at one point, okay? We all know that it wasn't a standing up for Rashford. I don't think it was also a penalty. Having said that, you can defend with 10 men. We've seen Tottenham defending with 9, and Chelsea couldn't defend them up with a high line. It was beyond a high line. They were defending. I mean, you could run from the halfway line and then go to goal at will. But Chelsea didn't even do it. So I'm not saying it's easy, because Copenhagen gave a game to every single team in this group. Having said that, that doesn't mask the fact that in 10 minutes you conceded 2 goals and they hit the crossbar just before that. They could have been 3. They collapsed a bit too easily, going down to 10 men.
It didn't help getting Evans sent off, though, did it? You know, goes off injured. He sent off injured when he was.
But Varane's coming on.
You sound so disappointed for Manchester.
No, you know what it was, because Man United have had a lot of stick. He's had a lot of stick over the last couple of weeks. I think the likes of Onana and Maguire, they've showed good character at times, and to get the game back 3-2, you're just thinking, can you see it out? And that's what I'm disappointed for. I mean, as a team,
Johnny Evans leaves the field.
Yeah,
Varane comes on.
He's not up to scratch.
No, I'm saying it's still Varane that comes on. Like what Copenhagen should say. When they do a switch off, they have a bench.
You know what Thierry's talking about, going down to 10 men, you still shouldn't be conceding 4 goals away from home. How they performed in the first game away in Munich, the goals they conceded, was 3 at home to Galatasaray. I mean, they've been absolutely shocking in the Champions League, really poor. They've been poor all season. They really have. They don't deserve to go through right now, do they? But they'll have to try and turn that round in those final 2 games, but I just can't see it.
A very warm welcome, by the way, to everybody who was watching on the Golasso show with Nico Cantor and Freddie Lundberg. Fantastic to have you with us. We are going to go to a very short break. We've got a whole bunch to bring you here on the post-game. Of course, an incredible game in Copenhagen to analyse between them and Manchester United, but also other interesting results around the Champions League with 1, 2, 3, 4 other teams qualified and gone through to the round of 16 tonight. We are going to a very short break. We'll be right back, my friends. See you in a second. Knockout round start. It's a massive result because it's of a club against the club of the status of Manchester United. How much credit do you have to give Copenhagen for a result like this and the way they ground it out, Clint?
Yeah, you got to give them a lot of credit. They've been in every game, like Thierry talked about just a while ago. They didn't give up when they were 2-0 down, and once they got that goal, they kept fighting. Then they go again to be 3-2 down. They fight back into the game, tie the game, and then they go on to win it. So it's a team that shows they have character. They fight to the end, and they've been in every game in this competition. They made every game tough.
All right, there were, despite these positive scenes, there were certainly controversial incidents in this game which led to this kind of topsy-turvy back and forward result. Let's bring in Christina Unkel, who is our FIFA rules expert, who we want to talk to about this one. Can I just ask you a general question first off, Christina? Did you feel like the referee had a poor game?
I don't think he had a poor game overall, but I could see why the football world doesn't like some of those calls. And it's the worst feeling in the world to be the official, knowing that you're applying a law that people aren't going to like on that reaction, but knowing that you're going to still have to enforce it. So Well, collectively, I don't think he had a poor game. I think some of the management style he could have done a little bit differently, but ultimately he got the decisions correct, and I know that's going to frustrate people.
All right, so let's go through a couple of these incidents one by one. First off, Marcus Rashford sending off straight red. Peter Schmeichel, I think it was, said terrible decision. Thierry Henry said never a red card. What was your take on what you saw?
2 points to focus on specifically on Rashford's. Taking a look at his left into that ankle position there. The two things we need to focus on is one, and I know Carragher mentioned about the speed and the force and just shielding the play, is effectively, does he have the right to put his left foot in there and shield the ball? The answer is yes. But because his foot is stuck into that ground, there doesn't allow that leverage. So when we take a look at red card incidents, the discussion in the language is serious foul play. Does he endanger the safety of the opponent? Once we take away discussions about intent, there is no language of the law about intent. And you take a look at where his foot is, it's planted, studs into the ankle, the foot's trapped, and it goes into it. That does rise to the level of interpretation for us to apply a red card. So was this the appropriate recommendation for a VAR for serious foul play for a red card because of the factual elements of this game? The answer is yes. Once you take out intent, which a lot of people are focusing on, you're right, there is no intent by Rashford on this. But because the foot is planted, it's stagnant, and therefore the studs are going into it with that, you don't need a lot of pressure and force at that moment to potentially break an ankle, and that's what leads it into a red card.
Yes or no, would you have given a red?
Yes, we would have to give a red. This is consistent and this is expected.
The referee's position on that, sometimes I understand VAR, a referee can't see it. The referee couldn't have had a better position. He was literally 5 yards away from it, saw it in real time and just waved play on. He then goes to the monitor. And I understand he's probably got no option, but his position is absolutely fantastic. Yes, he doesn't intend to do that. There's no doubt he could be endangering the opponent. For me, a yellow card is suffice there. And the referee's position is fantastic, and nobody else on that pitch thinks there's any danger of being a red card. No one stops, no one appeals. The game carries on, and the referee's position couldn't have been better.
Micah, you look disgusted.
I think, Jamie, you hit it. Oh, go ahead, Micah.
No, I agree exactly with what Jamie said. There's always this talk about putting ex-players within the referees and learning the game. Anyone who's played the game knows full well that should be a yellow card and not a red card. Obviously, by your law, it comes out a little bit different, but there's no intent there. I mean, he is endangering the opponent a little bit, but I think a yellow would be the right decision there. I can't get in my head why that's a red.
It's 2 no's.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that they're saying. That's how I feel. I think there need to be more players that have played the game at a professional level that are having these discussions with the referees. I'm not a big fan of VAR because it makes the ref look bad if they go and they're able to look at the replay and they get it wrong and then they come out and admit their mistake. It'd be better to not have VAR in the first place. And also, I think it ruins the game for the fans in the sense of not knowing when to celebrate goals. Is it going to be called back? Is it not? I have no problem with goal line technology. I have no problem with the offside technology, but for me, I think VAR runs the game. It slows the game down. It forces players to try to snitch on each other, to hold the ball, to wait, to look at the play again. I honestly don't like it, but like Christina said, I mean, it's a difficult job to have.
I totally agree with what he just said. I put a tweet out and Christina replied to me about VAR. I've always been a big advocate for it because I always think the game should evolve and move forward. And I always think if we're missing big decisions that are costing teams points, we've got to try and, you want the right team to win, I would say. But I actually think, and I want to ask you, Christina, as an official, do you think officials or the game is actually, how much is the game gained from having VAR? And also for you as an official, you don't grow up wanting to be stuck in a room looking at replays. You want to be on a field of play managing a game of football. How is it from your point of view? And as I said, do you think the game has gained enough for us to stick with VAR?
Jamie, I love this question on the overall VAR concept itself. From an official standpoint, having grown up, not needing it, feeling the context, what the players are demanding, what the game expects at that moment, that is the art of officiating, right? You can call balls and strikes, and for the American fans, right, in baseball, balls and strikes in and of itself, and that's factual in basis. But what makes a good referee to a great referee is those who can feel the game. They can sense the game. They can sniff the game. You're right. He's standing right there. It's a yellow card. Many of us would have probably given a yellow card in the instance. But the biggest point here to highlight is that VAR was not introduced by the officials. VAR was introduced by the players, the coaches, the clubs, the leagues. They are the ones who wanted VAR to correct the hands of God, the Maradones, all of those things. That's what VAR was introduced for. And the laws themselves are created by IFAB. Referees don't sit on those committees. It's actually players, coaches that sit on these committees that say, here is what we think should be and should not be a red card. So with all of that put together, that's how VAR is put together. That's how the laws are put together. From an officiating standpoint, we are okay with knowing that there's going to be some errors because we're human. However, the modern day game with the numerous amount of cameras that are there is not okay with there being a margin of error. And until those worlds come together and understand there will be a margin of error, and then those who want 100% certainty, that's where we're always going to have these arguments and conflicts, especially when it comes to handling offenses. Is that subjective, and should that have been sent down?
All right, cool. I guess let's move on to the penalty incidents then, because there were two penalty incidents in this one, Christina. One given for Copenhagen at 2-1 Man United, another one given for Man United at 2-2. Can you give us your thoughts on both of those?
One thing I can say is at least the officials are being consistent on the application, right? So here, unfortunately, the deflection argument is going away. So anyone arguing a deflection in the first potential handling, that argument has gone away from the current interpretation. Then you had essentially hitting twice. Here, this is another one that I think is really good up for conversation. However, in the current interpretation, his right arm extended outside of his silhouette and effectively leaving it there. Yes, I understand the jumping components. I get that. But during the current interpretation of handling, I'm not a fan of the current interpretation of handling. I want to put that out there. But this will fall into what they want from a recommendation and an acceptance standpoint. And that's why I said earlier, Kate, that although these were properly given based upon the interpretation and how they want us to enforce it, it's not a fan favorite, and it's the second penalty offense that really gets me. And I would rather put handling, because it's subjective, back into the arms of the refereeing and saying, what is the overall impact in this play in and of itself? Get rid of silhouettes to a certain extent. The argument should be, does this materially impact the play? Yes or no? And that kind of helps the referee get to the guidance of, should we give this as a penalty or not?
Yeah, I agree with what you've actually just said there, Christine. The Harry Maguire one I can almost understand, because when we talk about the silhouette, even though it's close, his arm is out there, so I can understand the red. On the second one, the guy's coming down, he's got his back to play, and his arm, it's his elbow that's just slightly outside the silhouette. It's half a yard away. There's no way, I don't even think any official, I think you've just said yourself there, the second one is not a penalty, virtually, and I don't think anyone in football thinks that is a penalty. No one, and I just see the players as well appealing for it, because they know as soon as a ball hits an arm now in the penalty box, they've got a great chance of getting it a penalty. This is never a penalty.
But he actually gets fouled. He actually gets fouled. Fouling him and pushing him. He's got both his hands on him. He's trying to get himself back into the correct position. How is that outside the silhouette? I mean, what do you expect him to do there? I just don't. The game has officially gone.
Okay. Christina, do you enjoy coming in for these weekly arguments? Is it fun for you?
I wouldn't call them arguments. I'd call them discussions. And I agree. I enjoy these conversations, because without a voice here at the table, then it's everyone projecting essentially without the voice of the referee. So I'm glad to be here. I know I'm losing my voice a little bit, but it's probably because I'm having arguments on handling offenses all the time. But I do really enjoy being with this group, especially when Meek starts laughing. For some reason, I always start laughing. It's just contagious.
Christina, you are fantastic. You've explained you well. Brilliantly, as always, but just that last one I don't agree with because of the silhouette, but fantastic. Keep doing a great job.
Appreciate you, Christina.
Thanks, Meeks. I got your approval.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Kate, Thierry, Jamie, Micah. Protest over? We good?
Let's get on with the show.
Let's get on with the show, everybody. That's me told. Okay, let's go over to Peter Schmeichel. I'm sure he wants to talk to us. Peter, I guess you were listening into the last segment with Christina Unkel and her explanation of those controversial incidents. Your thoughts on what she had to say, your thoughts on the game in general. We're interested.
Yeah, Obviously, I'm frustrated about Manchester United's performance tonight. I just want to say one thing about what Christina said and the explanation. I mean, I love Christina. I think she explains everything very, very good. But I'm a bit tired of, we don't understand now who we are playing this game for. It's for the people who here, the 36,000 here, and not a single one of them reacted to any of those incidents. No one was screaming for a red card. No one was screaming penalty on both situations. And the game was stopped. Nobody knows what goes on. And it kind of kills, you know, what was, I have to say that, a great atmosphere. It just kills it. It kills the enthusiasm for fans who are in the stadium. And I just think, yeah, it's fine. You can explain your way out of it with a letter of the law. But common sense has gone out of football. And VAR, I mean, they've had a bad 2 weeks. I have to say that. We need to rethink that. That is my opinion.
What about just the overall picture for Manchester United? How do you come away from that game feeling about the current state of affairs there?
Yeah, I mean, cruising at 2-0, could have been 3-0. Rasmus Højlund had that chance that was saved by the goalkeeper. Then he had another one which could have been 3-0 again. And then, of course, the red card happened. And well, first of all, this is the first goal. This is something we haven't seen from Manchester United for a long time. Wan-Bissaka obviously been injured, and Anson has been in this position that Rashford was in here. Now, we haven't seen them work together as a pairing. That leaves that space for McTominay to run into. And it was just brilliant to see that. We were screaming for something like that to happen for weeks.
Well, he was almost the hero on the night with 2 early goals on his return to his boyhood club, but it all unravelled fairly quickly for Manchester United. Let's hear from Rasmus Højlund. He's speaking with Becky Ives.
Rasmus, what a game, but ultimately a difficult result to take tonight.
Yeah, of course. I think we started very well, to be honest. We controlled the game until the red card, and that changed the game, of course.
Yeah, that first 20 minutes, was that some of the best football that United have probably played this season?
Yeah, if you don't look at the result, I think if you only take the 20 minutes into account, I think we did quite well, yeah.
And then when the red card happened, did you just lose your way a little bit that last 15 minutes? What happened?
I think we switched off a little bit. We were not thinking we were going to play a game with one man down. So, yeah, of course, it's also giving them a lot of belief. I know how the crowd can also help the team here. So, yeah, it gave them a big boost.
You managed to regroup at half-time. You look fairly comfortable with 10 men in that second half. The belief was still very much there.
Yeah, of course, when I think we also did quite good actually in the beginning of the second half. We were composed on the ball. We keep switching the game a lot, and we got the penalty and came in front again. So it's unfortunate we're here with 0 points again.
Yeah, disaster of an evening in the end. Where do United go from here, Paul?
Luton at home Saturday.
Step one.
Step one, yeah. Look, it's going to be very difficult to qualify from this group. We knew that. But like I said before, you can go to these places and get beat. It's not the biggest shock in the world. It's them home games in the Champions League group. As I mentioned before, you have to win them. Get your 9 points, scrape a draw, something. 10 points gets you through. Now they've got to go to Galatasaray and win, which they probably have to do anyway. So there's nothing much changed. But we know they have more quality, Galatasaray, than Copenhagen do.
Go to Galatasaray and win. Bayern have already top of the group anyway, so that, you can beat Bayern as well. I know it's unlikely, but they can win both games. They need to be positive, need to be optimistic. Højlund has been brilliant today, and I think we need to focus on the Potters, and he was one of them.
Okay.
How do you reflect on that?
Oh, do you have 1 hour?
I'll give you all the time you want.
Okay. Well, we can't do. But I think first we played very good till the red card. But the red card changes everything. And then it's become a different game. But then you concede 2 goals who never should count. And that's very disappointing.
Do you feel a couple of decisions went against you tonight?
Not only tonight. But in this moment, we are in the season, and we have to deal with that, with many decisions against us. But that's how it is. I'm sure it will turn. A season is long, and on 1 point it will turn in our favour.
What is your opinion on the Marcus Rashford red card?
I think it was a very harsh decision. I'm sure he was going for the ball, and I think already the review was over, and then he went up to the screen. So yeah, also I think the refereeing was not sure.
For large parts of that game with 10 men, your team played really well. Just that 15-minute period after the red card, do you feel they lost their way a little bit? You wanted to get them in at half-time to give the instructions?
Yeah, I think after the half-time went better. But as I say, the 2 goals should never count. First is offside. There's a player in front of Andre Onana. And the second, what can you do for that?
With the 2 goals conceded at the very end for numbers 3 and 4 for Copenhagen, do you feel your side should have done better game management? Was it just they ran out of legs? How do you see those 2 goals?
I have seen a lot of positives from that game. Yeah, but in the end, we lose probably some focus. But it's always hard when you have to play so long with 10 men, and then we fought, we run, and then probably we lose some focus.
You said a lot of positives there. Was that actually probably the best 20 minutes of football you've seen from your side in that first half?
Yes, I think so.
And so that's something you can take and move forward with?
Yeah, and also with 10, that we are still controlling the game.
Nothing has been decided tonight. What's the mood in the dressing room in terms of having to pick people's heads up?
Very disappointing, of course. We fought so hard, we played so good, and then still you don't have 1 point.
Eric, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Wow, what an interesting night it proved to be at Parken. 7 goals, 2 major VAR checks, 10 Man United with 1 very costly defeat. Shall we begin with the red card, which proved a turning point for this game, Jules?
Yeah, I think so. And this is the normal pace, if you want, on the left-hand side. Rashford coming out on Ashuri to help Wan-Bissaka. They get the ball back. That touch is a little bit heavy, and then Yelet comes in to try to get to the ball, and you see clearly there Rashford just wants to protect the ball. He doesn't even look at the defender. He's just, his eyes are down on the ball. I don't think he sees the leg coming. That's why I think it's probably the right decision in the end, but I think he's harsh and he's a bit unlucky.
A lot of Man United supporters, you'll be amazed to hear, don't agree with you. What do you think, James? Rafa?
The problem is that intent is not relevant. Not meaning to hurt a player, not meaning to be so dangerous is not what the referee is looking for. The referee is looking at the force of the impact.
Right.
And the guy who's having his ankle possibly broken or damaged, doesn't matter to him whether Rashford tried to do it or not. We all know he didn't. But it's still within the laws of the game to give a red card.
OK, he treads on yellow and he gets red. Off he goes. I would suggest, is it fair that you're 2-0 up against Copenhagen, who don't have the greatest record against, well, in the Champions League, they haven't won in 7 years. You should be able to manage the game a bit better than United were able. Is that fair?
We don't want to have a player sent off, but at the same time, yeah, to concede twice within, 10 minutes, again, that just keeps happening to Manchester United this season. I think it says a lot about the team's inability to react in these moments.
This is 93 seconds after the red card. Ten Hag claimed, well, he suggests that there should be an offside for interfering with play here.
Yeah, but there's the Copenhagen
nowhere near the
nowhere near, not in front. And then McTominay gives the ball away there for absolutely no need. And then, yeah, of course, it's a bit unlucky for Maguire. You see on the replay there. So the Varane one is not because it's off his leg first and then his arm. But Maguire's arm is quite wide and is close, very close to Concalves. I think, again, to the letter of the law, like the one for United against Copenhagen, has to be given.
Jules, you saw this game swing back and forth. United with 10 men, as indeed Ten Hag was referencing there, then began to come back into the game and indeed even looked like they were going to win it at one point, and they had a penalty for handball themselves.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's a similar one to the Maguire one. Leraga just jumping back, you will see there, and the ball hitting the back of his arm. And at that point, United are really good. They control the game. Copenhagen, even with an extra man, don't create much. Don't have big chances. Onana has nothing to do defensively. They're in good shape. The 4-4-1 formation is doing well. There's still 20 minutes to go once Bruno scores, but you think, okay, there's nothing that Copenhagen had done that could have led to believe at some point United would collapse like they did in the last 7 minutes of the game.
OK. The 2 penalties, would you say that they're fair, the handball decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would say that you should not give penalties for that, but this is the rule, this is the law of the game.
And they're
so.
roughly equivalent fractions.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. As you say, United looked like they were in control. We were coming back and forth from this game on the goals shown. It looked like United were managing things nicely with their 1-goal lead, but then it all fell to pieces. What was the difference?
I mean, I think individual mistakes. For me, you will see on the first one there, Wan-Bissaka, doesn't need to do the back pass there. He's not under no pressure. And I think Andre Onana doesn't have to try to control what is not a great ball in the first place. And then that led to a corner, third phase of that corner, Diogo Dalot completely forgot. You see there the number 20 Dalot. He has a look now. He knows that the number 12 for Copenhagen, Leraya, is there, and then just completely forgets about him. And that's not a goal that you can consider at that level. And 3 minutes later, this happens, where even before that, there's a mistake from Dalot again, from Varane not clearing the ball, and then Dalot is too far from Rooney Bargi there. And it's a really good finish, but Dalot is in no man's land really, when really the only man he should care about and focus is Rooney and be closer to him in case the ball comes out of him. He doesn't need to be where he is really.
But how many times have we seen individual mistakes cost United? They can have a go at the video assistant referee, they can have a go at the referee. But ultimately, if you go back to that Galatasaray game, so Nana with that silly pass to Casemiro, playing him into trouble, they give penalties away. And again, tonight, that Wan-Bissaka pass has cost them. So, you have to question the composure, the ability of the players to manage these situations.
And that's not Ten Hag either.
Right.
I don't think Ten Hag tonight did anything bad tactically or in terms of his choices.
Okay. This is Manchester United Football Club we're talking about. Should they be in this position? Who's to blame? The social media has been a little bit divided on where the blame lies. It is their third defeat in 4. Man City, Newcastle. There was that late 1-0 win against Fulham at the weekend at Old Trafford, but now this.
It's quite a list, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's enough United fans, if you want to look for them, saying that Ten Hag is finished, and they've been saying that for some time. Others are saying that he's really not the problem, and if you change him, you're still going to have the same issues that need to be sorted out.
The problem is that they've handed the transfer strategy to him. If you now get rid of him, whoever comes in and has to rebuild again.
Right.
And that's going to cost so much money, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get it right. So I think almost by default, you have to stick with him for longer to see that he can turn things around.
Okay.